What is going on, friends? Welcome to TrainRUF Tuesday. I am so excited to have you guys back. We got a good call tonight. It is a motivational talk. And I think it's going to be a good one for you guys to hear. First and foremost, I have to thank you guys for being here. As always, we do these every single Tuesday. I do record these. So if you're watching on replay on YouTube, on Facebook, or listening on the podcast, thank you guys for being here. All that we ask is that you share this content. We do this for free every single week. We'll have motivational talks like we do today, but we will also have informative things, nutrition, workouts, all that good stuff, correlating these with the 8-week challenge, making sure we're all on the same page, and helping people build their happiest, healthiest life. That has always been our purpose, our passion, why we do what we do here at RUF. So you guys, whether it's sharing the post to get people on the calls or sharing the replays, it really means a lot to not just myself, but the company, all of our coaches, because it allows us to grow, reach more people, and ultimately impact more lives. So today's motivational talk, my theme for this call has kind of gone off of what we've been talking about on Fire Fridays. It's just like, I might hurt your feelings, and it is what it is. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I think that's important. I think it's the thing that, at least from what I hear, people tend to like about me. I guess I'm a likable person, but I try to keep it as real as I possibly can for you guys. So today's going to be maybe a huge wake-up call for you. Maybe it'll be a good reiteration of what you already know to be true, but maybe stepping up your game in certain areas. But the big topic of today goes off of some of the calls that I've had in the past, being in this industry for a long time now, seeing so many people change their life for the better. And for a long time, I've been trying to figure out like why some people have it and why some people don't. Why some people, the first conversation we have, they're 100% in, they commit, and they change their life for forever. And some people, we have the conversation, we get to the end of it, and they still want to just do things on their own, or they have their excuses, or they don't want to commit, or they're still looking for those get fit quicks, right? And I've been trying to figure out this my entire life. I've been trying to figure this out, ultimately, so we can help more people. And through all these conversations, I've realized that there's some people that 10 years ago, I've had a conversation with them about wanting to lose weight, about trying to change their habits, and that they've been trying to lose weight and they keep losing the same 10 pounds over and over and over again. And I lay out this plan. I'm like, this is what we can do to help you. This is how we can do things. And 10 years later, sometimes I see some of these people, I'm like, man, they're still struggling with their weight. Why didn't they commit? Why didn't they do these things? Why didn't they try to decide to change their life and do things the right way? And it's funny to me because as I get into this talk, trying to figure this out, is that it's not a secret that your health, your well-being, your fitness is free, right? It's free. Nobody is stopping you right now. We get off this call for you to go for a run, right? Or for you to do some push-ups or some squats, or decide to be healthier, eat healthier. Like, you don't need to pay for a program or have a coach to do those things. And what's even better than that is that if I were to ask you guys, when it comes to your health and wellness, building your happiest, healthiest, more confident life, if I told you that, or if I were to ask you, hey, if you go outside for a 10-minute walk every single day, would that benefit you? Would that move you closer to your goals? And I think we would all agree, yeah, like that would be really good for me to go outside and just walk and move more. If I were to say, hey, a couple times a week, go to the gym, do some push-ups or some squats or some sit-ups, crunches, wherever you're at, like just move more. Would that move you closer to your happiest, healthiest life? I think we can all agree, like, yeah, we should move more. That's important. Like it's common sense. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. You don't need me to tell you that. You don't need to sign up for the app or one-on-one coaching with me to know those things. Same thing with nutrition. Let's go through nutrition. If I were to say, hey, as far as you trying to lose weight, Should you drink alcohol? More or less of it, at least. I think we can all agree. Maybe I should be cutting back a little bit more, right? If I were to ask you guys about sweets, the cookies, the cake, the sugary foods, the chips, should you have more or less of that? I think most of us would probably say, well, to be healthier, I'd probably do less of those things. Same thing with eating out. If I were to say, hey, eating McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, more or less, we'd all probably say yes. So again, I'm trying to wrap my head around this thing, right? This is free. You know that you should move more. You know what's good and bad when it comes to nutrition for the most part. And so the question is, well, why are we still, some people in this process where they're still trying to figure out how to lose the weight, how to burn the fat, how to tone up, how to build the muscle, right? And so I keep scratching my head on these things. And what I figured out is that there's three big things that you have to have. If you want real change, if you want to change your life, if you're tired of losing the same 15 pounds over and over and over and over again, these are the three things that we need. Okay. And this is going to be your motivational talk for the day, but at some point we need to redefine success, right? And this has been a big quote I've been using lately, but is losing 10 pounds success, or is it keeping it off? And once we have that mentality, because so many of us, we fall back into the same trap of, well, I want to go back to doing this thing because it's worked for me in the past. I'm like, well, did it really? Right? If you're on this call with me right now, or you set up a one-on-one call with me, or you're thinking about doing these things or asking for help, then did it really work for you? Again, what is success? Is it losing the weight and building the muscle, or is it keeping the muscle and keeping the weight off? And so usually I do these one-on-one calls. Somebody gets to a point where they're tired of losing the weight. They're tired of losing it, gaining it, or they just can't figure it out. And whatever they're doing isn't working. So we get on these calls, and I realize that this person or whoever it is, they've been struggling to lose weight. It's been a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And they tell me all the things that they've tried. They've tried these supplements. They tried these prepackaged meals. They've spent all this money on these things. They tried this, this, and this. And then we get to the end of the call, and I'm like, listen, this is what we need to do to reach your goals. And one of the most common things I hear is, you know what, Roy, I think I'm going to try it on my own first. And some of you guys have said that. Some of you guys who are watching this live have told me that, or told somebody that before. So you know what, I'm going to try this on my own first. And if it doesn't work, then I'll come do the program, or then I'll come give this a try. And and that's where I start scratching my brain. I'm like, isn't that the whole reason why we got on the call? Isn't that the whole reason why you guys are watching this right now, or watching this video? Right? Is because you've tried it before on your own. You finally got the courage to say, hey, I need help. And then we lay out this plan, and you feel as though, well, I know I got to eat right. I know I got to just move more. I just need to do it. Right? Because it's free. We all know for the most part what we need to be doing. So the thing is that, well, why haven't you done that already? Why did you even get on this call if you're just going to end up trying it on your own? And didn't you try it on your own already? And so the first step as far as you changing your life is that you need to be teachable. And this is a hard thing for a lot of people to come to terms with, because their ego's in the way, right? They want to do it on their own. They don't want to have to ask for help, or they feel like they already know it because they've had success in the past, quote unquote success. And one of the hardest things for me is to get somebody into the program and they feel like they already know everything, or they feel like they can do it on their own, right? But just moving more and eating right, if it was that easy, we'd all be in shape. Am I right? I think we got a lot more things going on. And it's crazy to me that people will say, well, I can't eat out. I can't have fast food. I can't have McDonald's. I got to give up the chocolate. I got to give up the cake. I got to give up the cookies. I got to give up the sugar. I shouldn't have alcohol. Those things we know are bad. I can't have the wine. I can't have the beer. But then I look at our program. I look at some of the clients we've had and some of the champions we've had and some of the people who've lost the weight and kept it off. Heck, I have people at the St. Patrick's Day parade who have been a part of our program for 2 years, have lost the weight and kept it off, and they're having drinks, they're eating food. So it's just like I'm wrapping my head around this. I'm like, man, maybe what you think to be true isn't always right. And so the first step for a lot of people, when we get to this call, they want to do it on their own. I'm like, but maybe there's more to the story. Maybe you've tried these things, you've lost a short amount of weight, 10 pounds for a short amount of time, but you didn't keep it off because you're not doing something that's sustainable. You're not doing something right. Maybe there's something that you're missing, and we got to relearn these things. And I need you to get on board with that, because most of us learn nutrition from our parents, or something you saw on Instagram, or the Oprah show, or Dr. Oz that you saw in passing, right? It's not necessarily true. I still, to this day, have people forcing themselves not to eat carbs. And I see a lot of you guys on this call live, and we all love carbs. Like, carbs are great. And I just feel like I started this company back in 2014. So it's been 8 years. And I still feel like I'm having this conversation about carbs. People tell me I'm doing low calorie, I'm doing keto, I'm doing no carbs, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, well, you've tried that before. You've tried it, and you tried it again, and you tried it again, and you tried it again. When are you going to decide that, hey, maybe what I'm doing is not right, and there's more for me to learn? And so your first step is to be teachable. And to do that, you have to put your ego aside. Literally on the door of our headquarters says, leave your ego here. You got to forget what you think you know. And it's funny that I bring that up, because if you decide you need your car fixed, for most of us, we wouldn't just say, man, I'm just going to go and fix my entire car. If you decide you want to buy a house or build a house, you're not going to just say, man, I'm just going to go and find property and buy it on my own and build it on my own. Like, you're probably going to have a mortgage broker. You're probably going to need to get a loan. You're probably going to need a realtor. You need somebody to build the house. You're not going to just do it yourself. If you break your leg, you're not going to say, man, I'm just going to fix that myself, right? You go get help. But why is it different for our health and wellness? Why all of a sudden? And what's crazy is that you've tried it, right? And you failed again and again and again. When does something change? Right? And so it's funny how we treat our fitness and our health, our only body that we have. We only got one of them, one life. We treat that so much differently than anything else. And I just don't understand why. And so that kind of brings us to point number 2, right? And this is a fun one, because usually I'll get to the end of these calls, and these calls are for, somebody wants to change their life, and we talk about one-on-one coaching, either doing that with me or somebody on our team, one of our coaches, or just downloading our app for $29. And then the next thing I get is, I can't afford it. And that's a big one that we get all the time. And it is a couple $100s for one-on-one coaching, but the app's only $29. And so again, me as a business owner, but also wanting to help people, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Okay, so what can I do to help them? Or how could I, trying to figure this out. And I've crunched the numbers and I've done the things. And it's just so funny to me when I look at what people will spend money on to change their life. And you guys might have fallen into this too, is that I'll sit here and say, man, a couple $100 a month for coaching. And I can show you, out of every single one of your excuses, I can give you reason of how we can get over those things. I can show you all the testimonials of people who have had it harder than you and have accomplished the thing, right? And I can show you that this is gonna work if you're willing to put in the work. And people tell me they can't afford it. And then I go see how much money they spend on like weight loss supplements, like fat burners and L-carnitine and BCAAs. And I'm like, you spend more money in that stuff and it doesn't even work. Right. And I'm just like trying to comprehend, like, why would somebody tell me no and then go buy these things? And then we get to things like, there's these companies that send like prepackaged meals or shakes. And they just say, hey, take these meals, 4 or 5 of them a day, and you can have one whole food meal, or just take our shakes. And I did the math. I'm like, some people spend $250 a week, like $1,000 a month on these foods. And I'm like, they won't just spend a couple $100 on coaching. Like I'm, again, trying to wrap my head around this. And some people have fallen in this trap before. And I'm like, and it's not that those companies don't work. I've seen people have amazing results doing them, and it's super simple to follow. But the issue is what happens when you don't want to eat those foods anymore? What have you learned? Did you create a lifestyle? Almost every single time people gain the weight back because it's not sustainable, right? And so then we get all the way to the extreme of like weight loss surgery. And so I'm thinking about, working out, eating right, a couple $100. I can show you that this is possible, and they don't do it. And then they spend literally thousands of dollars to do weight loss surgery. And even better, I've had people that were like, oh, I've got to lose 15 pounds to have the weight loss surgery. So then they go in, they do the right things to lose weight and then have the surgery. And I'm like, why would you just keep doing the things that you did to lose the 15 pounds? And then they have weight loss surgery, still haven't learned anything. And I'm going to tell you from experience, I have nothing against weight loss surgery. Okay. If it's helping you live a healthier life and you can keep it off, then like more power to you. But 9 times out of 10, I find people have this surgery and they end up gaining the weight back. And so I'm just still trying to like wrap my head around this. And I realize that the reason that people do these things is because they have more faith in the weight loss products, more faith in these meals that they're just having to eat and the simplicity of it, and more faith in the weight loss surgery than they do in themselves. They just don't believe in themselves, right? If you truly believed in yourself, that you truly could put in the work and work out and eat right, and for really actually saving you money to pay for a coach, why wouldn't you save money to do that? Because it's that people feel like, oh, I'm going to fall off just like I did in the past, or what makes this any different? I know that if I pay thousands of dollars for weight loss surgery, I am guaranteed to lose the weight. And so then there's this belief thing. I believe more in that this is going to work better for me than this because of the lack of belief. So my goal for, if there's anything that you can take away from this call, is that like, you've got to believe in yourself long before I do. Like you have to have that belief that this is possible, this is going to be different. And we have to shift our mindset from these get fit quicks, this 30-day challenge, this 6-week challenge, this 8-week challenge, to let's start looking a year in advance. Let's think about my health and wellness for the next year, the next 52 weeks. And so people say, if I were to tell you like, hey, you got to sign up for this program, but it's a 6-month commitment, people say, oh man, 6 months or a year, that's too long of a commitment. I'm just not sure about it. And I said, man, you've been trying to lose weight for 5 years. You've been committed to yo-yo dieting for 5 years. How does that sound? I'm like, if you would have committed to a year challenge 5 years ago, you probably would have learned something, stuck with it, kept the weight off, and you'd be following those same habits now. But so many people are thinking about summer. I've got to lose the weight for summer. I've got to lose it now, right? And then as soon as summer's done and we're in the winter, you just forget about it. And you fall into the same trap year after year after year after year. And I said, if you just committed to a year just once, an entire year, you'd probably figure out how to make this life thing work, right? Instead of committing to yo-yo dieting and falling into these traps and spending more money than you need on stuff that doesn't even work. And so your first step is to be teachable. The second step is to believe in yourself. You have to be able to believe in yourself long before any of our coaches do. And then number 3, this is my favorite one. I feel like I get a lot of people who feel like they're perfectionists, right? And I know that some of you guys might have said that before as well. I'm a perfectionist. You got to wait till things are perfect, situations are perfect to get started. And so the quote is "into the storm." And we actually use this for one of our challenges not too long ago, where you can reverse it and say, the storm is coming. And it's one of my favorite things to talk about. But how many people wait for the perfect time to start their fitness journey? We've all been there. You got to wait till Monday, right, to get started. And I don't think I've ever heard of a day of the week that's more perfect than Monday. Nobody wants to start in the middle of the week. Friday, you're going out. Saturday and Sundays, you got to have your days off. So Mondays always just seems to be the perfect time, but not every Monday is perfect, right? Think about that. Not every Monday is perfect, which means I don't see every single person crushing it on Monday. Sometimes you say you're going to go for a run, but it's storming outside. So not a perfect Monday, or work gets crazy, or you're sick, or your kids are sick. There's always an excuse, right? So not every Monday is going to be perfect, which means maybe half of them are going to be okay, but you're not going to get in shape and live your best life 26 Mondays out of the year. That's like 26 days of fitness. Like, come on. Even if you were perfect every single Monday, that's only 52 Mondays out of the year. 365 days a year. So you can't wait for the perfect time, because as rare as a perfect day is, it's going to come just as fast as it's going to go. And I think so many of us are like, oh, well, I'm a perfectionist. And it's so funny that we say that. And as soon as you have a bad weekend, as soon as you fall off your nutrition plan, as soon as you get sick, or your kids get sick, or the slightest inconvenience, and you're only at 98% instead of 100%, we quit. And you say, I'm a perfectionist. I got to do everything I do. It's either I'm all or nothing. How many of you guys have said that? But yet you start your laundry and you don't finish it, right? But you're all or nothing. And I hear this all the time, that I'm all or nothing. I'm perfect. But when was the last time you were perfect every single day at your job? When you have a bad day at work, do you just not show up? Do you leave for 2 weeks and decide I'm going to come back when I'm motivated? No. Right? You come back like the next day. You show up on the days that you don't like, right? If you forget to eat breakfast, you just don't eat the rest of the day. You're probably still going to eat lunch. right? If you forget to brush your teeth today, you're going to wait till you're motivated again to brush them. Like, why is it that it's only with our health and wellness and fitness that we treat it like an accessory, not a priority? Literally anything else in our life, we'll say, you basically don't need to be perfect. You'll mess up. You'll do it even on bad days. You'll pick up right after if you mess up. But when it comes to working out and eating right, you have one bad day, one bad meal, one bad workout, one missed weekend, and then you're done till the next perfect opportunity, as if the perfect opportunity is going to last when it even comes. And so the quote is "into the storm." And the way the quote works is we actually have bison here in Colorado, and I don't think I've ever seen one in person. I'd love to do that. But the bison, animals can feel when the weather is changing. They can feel when something bad's coming, right? Like when I was in Louisiana and a hurricane was coming, all of like the dogs, like they kind of like, they knew that something was happening and like it wasn't good. And so when a blizzard's coming, the bison know it, the cattle know it, like these animals know that this blizzard's coming. But what's unique about the buffalo is that they know that they can't avoid this storm that's coming. So they actually herd together as a unit, as a team, as a family, as a community. They herd together and they actually march towards the storm. And then they go through it. And because they're moving in the opposite direction of the storm, they get to the storm faster and they get through the storm quicker. And because they're herded together, they're not as cold during the storm, right? And it's just like the coolest concept to me ever, right? You're not going to avoid this storm. You're not going to avoid this hard time. And they herd together and they attack it head on. They don't avoid it and they go through it. But then you have the cattle, right? And the cattle feel that the storm is coming on. So they decide to bunker down or run away from the storm, right? And when they do that, they think, right, just as us as humans, like, oh, maybe if we just don't think about it, maybe the storm won't come, right? Maybe this hard time won't happen. We'll just keep eating our grass and we'll be a-okay. We'll be good. And so they just kind of mind their own business, avoid the problems that we know we need to face. Like some of us have high blood pressure. Some of us have high cholesterol. Some of us are diabetes. We're overweight. Our joints hurt. And we're like, maybe if we just don't think about it, right? Maybe if I don't take the day one photos, maybe if I just take the photos instead of being in the photos, I don't have to confront the photos and how I look, right? We avoid the problems. And so they hunker down and it never fails. The blizzard ends up coming. And the inevitable happens. The thing that they tried to avoid finally comes, and then they're stuck in the storm twice as long because they're just sitting there. And not only that, but they're going through this alone. So they're twice as cold and they're miserable during that time where the bison's already out the storm and done and living their best life and moved past it. And the point of this is to bring it all the way back to when I have these calls and somebody says, I think I'm going to try it on my own first. And I just think to myself is why? You literally have so much opportunity in this country more than any other country, but in just being on this call and listening to what I have to say, like you have more opportunity to do this as a team, as a unit than anywhere else. Us as humans, as a species, thrive off of a community. Why would you want to do it by yourself? Why would you want to go through the storm alone? When you get knocked down, when you have a bad day, you're not motivated, you're stressed, you're having problems in your relationship, you're having problems at work, all these things are going on in your life and you get knocked down. Why wouldn't you want somebody there to say, hey, I get it. I'm here. Let me pick you up. Let me walk through this with you. Why would you opt out of that? Why would you choose to do this alone? Because guess what? It's happened again and again and again. The storm is coming. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to have bad days. You're going to mess up. And on the flip side of that, when you finally do figure it out and you finally do make it and you do lose the weight and you are living your best life, why wouldn't you want a team, a community, a family there to cheer you on, to pat you on the back, to say, wow, holy crap, how did you do that? That is amazing. Why would you want to be alone at the top? When given the choice, why would you choose to do this alone? I just don't get it. Right? And so the third thing is the importance of community and accountability, and to understand that the storm is coming and not that you don't have to do it alone, but why would you want to? It never fails. It's the same reason why you guys are on this call right now. Like, there has to be some form of you that feels that, right? That feels like there's something missing, and you need that, to where when something's going wrong and you're not motivated and you're about to leave work, you're like, oh, I have to go to the gym and I just don't feel like it. And all your friends are like, dude, skip that, man. Let's go have drinks. Let's do that. Like, that's not what you want in your life. Like, you need the friends, you need the community, you need the people who are going to lift you up and say, nah, man, like, we got to do this. We got big dreams. We got big goals. Let's stick with this. And so you have to understand that the storm is coming. And you guys, people ask me all the time, like, what makes RUF different? What makes Roy different? Like, why would I pay you for workouts and nutrition? Because it's not workouts and nutrition. Workouts and nutrition is free. You can go download a YouTube video. You can go walk and run right now. Nobody's stopping you from using that Planet Fitness membership that you're not using. Right? You're paying for it. You ain't using 6 months. Nobody's stopping you from doing it. It's free. I get that fitness is free, but there is more than that. If it was just working out and eating right, we'd all be in shape. You guys, there's so much more to it. You have to put your ego aside. You have to realize that maybe there's more to learn than what you think you know. You have to start believing in yourself this is possible and stop falling for all these gimmicks that aren't getting you anywhere. And you have to understand that there's a community and a team, and that's what you get here to help you get through the storm. There is not a single one of our members who has not fallen off, struggled for at least a week, if not a month at a time. It happens. It's life. You've got work. You're working 2 jobs. You just lost your job. You just got into a relationship. You just had a kid. Man, you used to be in shape. Then you have a kid. Now you're gaining all this weight. You don't know how to manage a life with kids, or maybe you're going through a divorce. Like, I get it. There's so much more going on in your life. And I just don't understand why you would want to go through this alone. And that's the difference. That's what makes RUF what RUF is. That's why we have the team. That's why we have the community. That's why we're not just workouts and nutrition, you guys. We're so much more than that. And whether you decide to work with RUF or not, whether you just do TrainRUF Tuesdays, or just listen to the podcast, or just part of our Facebook group, or you're just going to go do your own thing. Okay. The biggest thing that I hope that I can get through you today, if you're going to be 110%, like, you're going to be all in. Okay. No more beating around the bush and pretending like you're going to be all in and say you're going to do this on your own. Okay. You need to be teachable. Forget what you think you know. Well, I'm going to start my diet. I'm going to do no carbs or low carbs, or I can't eat fast food, or I can't have alcohol. You've tried that, but it sure does suck not to have alcohol when you're on vacation or it's your anniversary. Sure does suck not to have a piece of cake when it's your 3-year-old's birthday party. Right? You guys have to think about those things, and there's a way to make those things fit. You have to believe in yourself. I get it. It's going to be hard. I know you're going to mess up. The journey is not going to be perfect, but you have to believe that this is possible, and you have to understand that the storm is coming. If you think this journey is going to be perfect, that you're not going to mess up, if you think that every single week the scale is going to go down, you got more stuff coming, right? And that's what makes this whole thing different. That's why we give this free resource. That's why we have our Facebook group. That's why we do TrainRUF Tuesdays. We do the podcast. We have the YouTube. Like, we do all these things because I just want you to realize that this is possible for you guys. And that's it, right? So I told you I was going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So I hope I stayed true to that. And if I hurt your feelings, then I guess if the shoe fits, that's just how it is. But this is TrainRUF Tuesdays. Next week, we're going to go over some healthy tips for you guys as far as nutrition goes. I'm going to have my wonderful wife on here. She's going to help talk about some recipes, and we'll go over like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and kind of what we do and how to make this all work for you guys. So make sure you guys are here for that. Please don't forget to share this replay or share the link for the next week's call. We love having you guys on here. This is TrainRUF Tuesday. We tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. I am your boy, Roy, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys next Tuesday. Just remember, we don't pray for an easy life. We earn a rough one, and I'll see y'all later.